Welcome, everyone, to I So Appreciate You, a raw, funny, and uniquely insightful podcast about the issues and opportunities we all face as values-based leaders and humans. I'm Nadege.
And I'm Melanie. We're colleagues at the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation, and we're friends. When we get together, our conversations can go anywhere, especially when bringing a friend or two along for the ride.
So we're inviting you to join us and some incredible guests as we explore the challenges and triumphs of people shaking up our community for the better. Welcome to the Season 3 wrap episode.
Wow.
How are we here already?
It went fast and it really was long at the same time.
And honestly, I was like reflecting back and I was like, wait, that was this season. But it was like great.
We had a great season.
We had a fantastic season.
I'm excited to just hear some of your highlights. But before we do that, our team here in studio with us whipped up 3 quick questions for us to answer.
Should I be terrified? You don't know because you haven't seen them yet.
I have them in front of me.
Okay,
on
listeners, we have no idea what's going to happen here. Actually, this is kind of like poetic because we did this on your very first episode.
Yes, yes, we did. So here it goes. Okay, I'm going to flip the first one over. Try out a new movie or show. Movie/show.
Yep.
Or stick with a reliable classic you've seen before.
Oh, man.
Oh.
I mean, considering that I've watched Gossip Girls like about 70 billion million times, I think I gotta go stick with the classic because that's like Gossip Girls and The Good Place. And I've got some fallbacks that I go to every time.
Oh, this is a hard one. I knew that about you because I think, there's with the repeat shows in the background sort of thing. But I'm going to say, because I only have like 3 movies that I return to in my entire life, like I have the favorites. They are Edward Scissorhands. Don't ask me why.
Oh.
Carol. I mean, of course, the lesbian love story. I got to see that every winter.
I have not seen that yet.
But
it's on my list. Like
what?
That's the crazy thing. It's on my list, and it's just like one of those movies that I'm like, okay, what movies do we want to watch? And inevitably, I want to watch something stupid because it's been a stressful week.
Yeah,
and that's not the movie I want to watch.
No, that's a moving movie.
I know. All right, I will put it back to the top of my list.
And then I watch Home for the Holidays every Christmas or holiday season. But so I'm usually try out a new movie show. I go to find something new. Okay, our next question.
I feel like that was a deep sigh. Oh no.
Well, Beyonce or Taylor Swift?
Obviously.
Oh, your face.
So like, I'm not okay. Like listeners, please don't crucify me. Like, I like Beyonce. I don't love Beyonce. Although I will say that I'm kind of digging her country era, which previous albums, whatever. And there are some songs like Love on Top. You play that and I will stop what I'm doing. So this is easy that I would pick Beyonce, but not in a fanatical way.
Yeah. Great. This one is hard for me. Because I've opened myself up to Taylor Swift in the last couple of years, trying to understand. Because my wife loves Taylor Swift. I didn't get it. And then I'm like, her last couple of albums were a little bit more folky, and I can understand the creativity. So, because I'm a Beyonce fan. So I've been kind of embracing Taylor lately. I'm like, okay. So I'll give her a point for this question.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Our last one. Spring flowers or fall foliage?
Fall.
We're aligned.
I was like, I don't even have to think about this one.
We are aligned.
So easy. Fall colors, favorite thing in the world.
Yeah. It just
so good.
The change in season, the crispiness. Yeah. Love it. Well, that's good. Goodness. Well, where should we go before we go to the plot twist of this season, which has to do with you? But I'm just going to put that aside for now.
Can we just talk about this season was like not intentionally, but somehow we got to the end of it and it was our like badass women season.
It absolutely
was. Like 100%.
Yes.
Like we just had these rock stars in like all sorts of different genres and whatever, but like, man, I want to be all of them when I grow up.
I agree with you. And I'm glad you said that because that will hit our theme later when we talk about you. Badass woman, badass leader. But yes, the thing that was really cool too is, like you said, I mean, we had soccer. We looked at food. We talked about, autism and family structures and just all of the many things that, these women brought into our conversation and into our lives. Very inspiring. It was great. What else you got for this season?
I mean, we talked to these women who are all so very different, but I feel like I left each and every episode with like some profound nugget that I could apply to myself, even if like what they did, right? Entrepreneurial food businesses like that. I don't do that. Like I eat food. I love food. That's great. But but yet still I was sort of like, it got me thinking about how to sort of show up differently in leadership and how we work with the community or whatever. Rami and how she talked about
Rami,
like St. Paul. I mean, I feel like I should name check all of these women because they're like fantastic. So like Allison, Shannon, Sina, Andrea, Rami, Carmen, Ruby, Bethany, Shaletta. Oh my God.
Yes.
Like seriously, like just learning after learning after learning. And if I had like my consolidated show notes with me, which I probably should have had since this is a wrap episode. So sorry about that, y'all. I would have like a moment or a quote from each and every one of them.
You know what you're leading me to think?
What?
You were so moved by these women who inspired you. I have them to blame for what I want to talk about.
Oh my goodness, Mel. That's not very nice.
No, I know. But I think they've inspired all of us to think about the world differently, opportunities differently, the ways that we want to lead and the next thing.
Yeah.
So Nadege, if we could, because this is not just a season 3 wrap. Yes. This is a Nadege at the foundation wrap.
So this is like in the TV show and they go, and that's a wrap on so-and-so.
Yeah.
Like that's what we have to do at the end of this episode.
Oh, God, that makes me sick. Nadege, you are moving to Texas and you're going to be the CEO of the San Antonio Area Foundation.
Indeed, I am.
There's so much courage that it must have taken for you to go through all of the many things that you had to, think through in order to make this move. And I'm wondering if you would entertain just a few words about that.
Oh my goodness.
And then I'm going to do some reflecting on it because as your friend and your co-host and your colleague, I have my own observations.
So are you going to ask me questions or do I just have to like say things?
Yeah, well, I would say where was the point where you're like, you know what? And I don't need to get into the details of like, on interview number 2, but like in your soul, maybe like you knew, oh no, I am a CEO. I am moving on and I'm going to lead this organization.
Oh, that's that.
And maybe it has nothing to even do with this job or that job, but just like in you as a, badass female leader.
Well, honestly, if I'm being super honest,
sure.
it goes way before this search.
Yeah.
So, I've been at the foundation almost 8.5 years now, I think that's the math, or if we do it right, and have had a number of sort of really cool opportunities to like step into leadership at this foundation. Some I sort of grabbed when there was a void that needed to be filled. Some were sort of intentional changes of roles. And then some came because of a freaking pandemic. And, 2020 was like chaos central, right? Everything went wrong. Like here we are in the Twin Cities, George Floyd is murdered. We're all sort of trapped in a pandemic. And, when I think about that year, like I had to lead in ways that I didn't know how to lead, right? If you had asked me the year before, like, what would you do? And I would have had no idea because it wasn't something that I was prepared to do. And so in that year, I did a ton of stuff that was different and stretched my leadership muscles. And I think I can articulate now what I couldn't articulate then is that in that year, I knew I was ready. Like that was the year I became ready for the next thing. And that was the year that it was, I've said it this way, kind of like only a matter of time before I did the next thing. And I wasn't, like out here in these streets like, hey, y'all, give me a job. It was more
of course.
Because listen, this place is great. I mean, if I had left in 2020, we wouldn't be like podcast co-hosts, all of that fun stuff. But it was one of those things where it was like, if the right moment shows up at the right time and the like facts align, then I'm ready. And so here we are.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that because I do think in ways it goes back to the things that we've talked about with other people, this season. A point when you're ready to do something big, great, different, and you've taken that and you've moved forward. Oh, Nadege, there's so much loss for so many of us, though. I just have to say that and reflect on even coming to this recording. I was thinking, is it open-toe shoe season or not? And Nadege would tell me.
I mean, for those who can't see me, I'm wearing a sweater on a gorgeous day in the Twin Cities, like a noob. I don't know, whatever. But like, I just really wanted to wear this sweater today.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Like, you have influenced my life in so many ways. That's a fun one, just fashion, but all the things that you've also recommended, like our remarkable tablets. I'm wearing an Aura ring right now, like you. But
Melanie, am I your influencer?
I think you are my personal influencer. But yes. Nadege, on a more personal note, I'm in this seat because you invited me in. And I think I could spend an hour talking about your leadership style and the way that you've been able to, rise, I think, to the occasion as you did in 2020. And now you're continuing to rise. But you're the type of person that invites people in. And I just want to thank you for that. Like, I'm going to summarize it in that little nugget because, like I said, I could go on and on. But oh my, it's gonna be hard to not have you, especially on our little podcast.
I know, but you know what? Here's the reality, and I think I said something like this when Pahua transitioned from the foundation. It's like it'll go on in a new and a different way,
yes,
and it'll be like its own greatness and its own awesomeness. And like now we have sort of two trains of awesome, sort of headed.
I like that.
Right, in different directions, but
yes,
like with a lot of shared values, goals, love, all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I think is also hysterical? We left the last season with you going on a quote-unquote rest retreat.
That's
like
right.
You were going to go somewhere and do nothing, and now you're actually
going to go do the most.
Do the most. You're doing the opposite of nothing, which is everything. Moving your life, starting a job, going to a new city, all the things. And so how are you feeling?
I mean, real talk, it's a little bit like a mile a minute. Super real talk, I think I do this kind of nonsense to myself all the time. Right. Joshua, please forgive me. I hope that we're done with this. But like we got married in 8 weeks.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah. We were like sitting at a bar and I was like, we should we'd been engaged forever, like a 3-year engagement. Yeah. It was like the longest engagement or whatever it was. And just decided like we were ready, looked on a calendar, found the like best available date of August 1st, and then literally started texting family and friends and said, hold the date, and sent like invitations like the next day.
Wow.
And so I think that in some ways what I'm doing is insane, but also like if I had 6 months to do it, it
right.
would still be insane.
Right.
If I had a year to do it, it would still be insane. And so now it's just like I'm going to deal with all the insanity all at once, mm-hmm. and then be on the other side.
You'll rest in a couple of years.
Or in October.
Oh, yes. What's happening then?
I mean, Joshua and I are going on this fantastic trip to Italy with these really good friends.
Emily and I might just be there then, too.
Wow, what a coincidence.
Oh, we could have a bonus episode.
From Tuscany?
From Tuscany. Team?
From the hot air balloon in Tuscany?
Oh, I need to break this to you.
I haven't sold you on the hot air balloon. Okay, listeners, if you can help me out in the next couple of months when you run into Mel or you see her or send the foundation notes, tell her to get on the hot air balloon.
Oh, my goodness.
Hot air balloon.
All right. Well, I don't have to be sad right today because I have that in my future. But for our listeners, too, I would say Nadege is moving on to other things. But we're going to figure out our next season. And it's going to be great and beautiful and big and who knows. But we'll be back to talk about that when it's the right time.
Listeners, this has been a fantastic ride. 3 seasons of this wonderful podcast, 2 co-hosts, and just one memory that I will never forget. And so I want to say to Melanie, I want to say to the team, and I want to say to all of you, I so appreciate you. Thank you for listening to I So Appreciate You. You can find us on Facebook at I So Appreciate You Podcast and on Instagram at So Appreciate You.
We'd also appreciate you taking a moment to write us a review. And if you like our show, be sure to follow I So Appreciate You on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to us right now.
Have a question or topic suggestion? Email us at podcast@spmcf.org. Thank you for listening to I So Appreciate You.